Etep Wakuian here with you with another interview in the one-on-one series as we venture into the world of female muscle and bodybuilding. And my guest today is none other than the lovely, talented, and extremely well-built Natasha. And I'm going to apologize. We went over this off air, but I'm just going to pronounce it the way she told me to because she says you're not going to be able to say it. Broegger. And again, apologies, Natasha. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, and nice to see you.
Absolutely. It's very nice to finally, get to hear somebody's voice that you've corresponded with through DMs and such. And I happened to comment on one of Natasha's posts and asked her if she would be gracious enough to grant me an interview, and here she is. So I thank you for that. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience and let them know who you are and where you're from and what you do.
Yeah, okay. Hi. I'm from Denmark, and I'm 47 years old. And I have been into fitness for like 24 years. I started when I was 23 and got into it very quickly. I was very strong because I had a farm before that for 5 years, having horses and pigs and goats and chickens. So I was a farmer's girl and very strong. And I've always been obsessed with being strong. When I was 7, I remember I arm wrestled the family members and everyone who wanted to arm wrestle me. And they were very kind, probably letting me win. So I was quite confident in such things. And I don't know if you know about Pippi Longstocking, but she was my idol.
I do.
Yeah, so that was my ultimate goal, to become very strong. So,
and I would say mission accomplished.
yeah.
So did you participate in school athletics growing up?
Yeah, I did, and I was I was very skilled at it, athletics and acrobatics and stuff like that. So I was a fast runner. I was winning when the schools had competitions and stuff like that. So I was very good at using my body. So it was very appealing for me to do fitness and strength training, as I always, from the start, was very good.
What sports in particular? You mentioned track and field. You were a runner. Now, did you? Now, I have to say, with the athletic prowess that you had in your background and your physique, did you ever throw shot put, or were you just a runner?
Just short runs, explosive runs.
You're a sprinter.
Yeah, sprinters.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And know when you throw the iron ball and stuff like that.
You did that, the shot put? See, yeah. I did that. I did that in middle school, which was funny because I was like one of the skinniest shot putters you would ever see. Because I was like, what, in 8th grade, I think I was 5'11" and about 140 pounds. Like, did you ever play soccer at all?
I'm not so good at those sports where you have to have teamwork.
Okay.
I get impatient with people's lack of what do we call it? The girls
skill?
Girls are just like, they give up and they don't want to do hard stuff. And I was the opposite. I just had to be wild and strong and furious.
You attribute that to your upbringing as well, that that strength and that will, I imagine.
Yeah. Oh, it was just I'm not so good at team sports. that's why fitness is very much into
Mhm.
I can do it whenever I want to, and I can do it
Mhm.
alone.
It's you versus you. You're the only
Yeah.
one there unless you're stepping on stage, which leads me to my next question. Have you ever competed at the amateur level? And do you plan on doing it again?
Yeah, I did compete when I had trained or worked out for about 6 months
Mhm.
because there was this guy at the fitness gym. He made this program and he was like, "Oh, you're so strong, you should compete." And I was like, "Well, why not?" And
Mhm.
I got into some coaching. I found a good coach who had competed in Miss Fitness and asked if
Okay.
she would help me, and she did. So I was like 8 months into my training, I think, when I competed in Miss Fitness. And at that time, it was not just going on stage in a bikini. You also had to do a free routine with
Yep.
music and athletic moves, and that was a fun part. But I didn't like being on stage. I just thought it wasn't me. I thought it was a bit shallow,
Uh-huh.
just to be judged by your looks. And as Miss Fitness is no longer in Denmark, there's only this going on stage in a bikini and turn around and show off your muscles. And it's just, I think it's a bit boring, in my opinion. I would love it if there was some kind of strength challenge.
Mhm.
Maybe I would compete then. But if it's just to show off muscles in a bikini, it's just not fun enough.
And I appreciate that answer. That's, and I look at the fitness industry is really shallow. If when you really boil it down, it is a very shallow, very narcissist driven industry. And in this line, and you run into a lot of those type of people who
Yeah.
are only interested in furthering themselves, not making any real connections, or the connections they do make are only, for professional purposes. That's as deep as they go. Um, so I understand that, and like you said, you're more interested in the strength aspect of it. I think we talked about this in one of our messages. The prize money that the women are given for all now. I know what competition prep takes. I've had friends who've competed. It's funny too because when you have your glasses on, you look like a friend of mine she's a bodybuilder. You could honestly be like, it costs too much to prep. You're not only your coaching, your eating, your travel, and then your suits, because you have to have a posing suit that costs God knows how much, and then your prize money is like a fraction of what the guys get. And
Mm.
I'm just gonna say, if you really look at who's gonna draw money, my my is always towards the women. I
Yeah.
mean, it is. I mean, and they don't market it as such, and I really find that's a problem. And I think a lot of that still comes from the mainstream line of thought that muscles and femininity are not, they do not intersect at all. When I honestly have, and I've been a fan of the female bodybuilding world and female muscle since I was honestly about 8 or 9 years old. From the first time I looked in one of my dad's bodybuilding magazines when we were working out, and I saw Rachel McLeish, and I'm like, you don't really know how to process it at that age, but you get older. This is something that I find much more aesthetically pleasing, and I've been shamed for that. What do you get the reactions in public to your physique? How are you perceived?
Oh, yeah. That's very funny because I never worked out to achieve this look,
Mhm.
but it happens when you live for 24 years and lift
Yeah.
heavily and intense as I do. But the reaction has been mostly negative for like the first 15 years, but I sense now there's a swift that female muscles is getting more popular, and people are more positive towards me. When I started, everyone was like, "Oh, why do you lift so heavy? You're gonna look like a man," and stuff like that. And obviously, I didn't listen, but somehow it also affected me a little. I remember I was a bit sad that they couldn't understand that this is mental therapy for me, lifting heavy. So, but luckily, it's beginning to change. So I get much more positive comments now. But it is still like I can't go out with my friends in a bar without people approaching me, want to know how much I bench and how big my biceps is and stuff like that.
And that's we have a question about that later on in our 5 questions. I'm glad to hear that the perception is changing because I can see it too. And I look on a lot of like Facebook groups and pages, especially like her biceps. You'll have, and you did a shoot with her biceps, Sean Nelson, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Fantastic photographer. And that shoot was absolutely beautiful. You looked amazing in those pictures.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, and that's the thing to me. I look at that and it's like, okay, so you have guys who are attracted to, and I'm not trying to be obtuse, but who are attracted to obese women, like, and jokingly you call them chubby chasers, whatever. Okay, that's their thing. Speaking of your photo shoots, and I see these guys who are attracted to these obese women, and then they have the audacity to shame someone. Like I recently got called a homophobic slur because I am a fan of the muscular females. I always have been, I always will be. In high school, I wasn't trying to date cheerleaders. I wanted to date the female basketball players. And my wife is from a very athletic background. So it's just drawn. I've always been drawn to that because I've always been athletic and I've always been into working out in some shape or form. And it bothers me. And I'm not being a white knight or anything, but that does. It's just like you have someone who dedicates countless hours and days and weeks and months and years into molding their body into what they want. This is not for anybody else. Like you said, you're not competing. This is for you.
Yeah, this is for my, yeah.
It's therapeutic. And to denigrate that, and you always get in comment threads, you'll get the, oh, it looks like a man. I'm like, how does how? I'm like, no. Me in a wig looks like a man. Okay. And it's like a lot of the guys, I think it's insecurity. It really is. It's they're very insecure because they don't have that mental fortitude to put in the effort to develop themselves that way. So it's lashing out because they see women still as, and it's that misogynistic point of view. And again, I'm nowhere near being a male feminist, but if I see stupidity and misogyny, I can call that out, and that's, I think a lot of it is rooted in ignorance and just sheer insecurities on the part of, and you even get, I'm sure you get it from women too, because women will kind of side eye and give you that kind of, it's like, worry about yourself,
Yeah. That would suit a lot of people if they just mind their own business. So, but yeah, a lot of women is also like, I want to work out, I want to get a little more firmed, but I don't want to be as big as you. And I'm like, don't worry, you won't be unless you got autism and intense training for hours every day for 24 years. And also, I'm probably blessed with good genetics. So they shouldn't worry. They should just go out and lift some heavy weights.
And And that's my favorite thing is like because I was training somebody years ago. She worked at my son's daycare, and she's kind of like you. She was a farm girl, and she had a naturally like very like muscular build. And we were working out together, and like she has like really big traps. And we were doing shrugs, and we had a couple guys walk by, and they're like looking at her like I'm like, just keep moving. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, are you just jealous because hers are bigger than yours? Like, what, and it's always funny to me that you get that reaction. And then, but it was funny because like her and I are in the middle of the set, and there was this woman training next to us who clearly competitor. I mean,
Yeah.
diced up, and we're both kind of like, and I was like, are you checking her out? And she's like, are you? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so we're both on the same page, and
Yeah.
she looked over and she smiled and she kind of started talking to us, but we sat there and we had a laugh about it. And, we just went on about, and that's like, the thing is like, when you get into the world of like the fitness and stuff like that, and you can meet people like that, and you have these like funny little moments in the gyms. And I'm not a big like public gym guy. I've always been a recluse. I train at home. The only time I really ever went to the gym was when 2017 was like my year. I went from like 205 pounds to 240 pounds, 8 months of just eating like a maniac and training as much as I could, because that was like my last year in the wrestling business. And I was like, I want to be like a monster for once. And that was the only time I ever went to the gym, like out for like that year, was like publicly. Have you ever had any like injuries that have halted your training for any extended period of time, or any periods where you're like, I can't do this?
Yeah, of course I have, but the last one was my lower back after a deadlift, and it took 1.5 year. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, and I just did something in August again in a deadlift, so it came back. But this time I was cautious and stopped immediately and
Mm.
got home and just relaxed. And then after a few days, it was gone. So I've had a shoulder pain for like the first years of when I started training, because I was a little bit too wild on the dip. But I don't feel that anymore. Then for the time being, I have something with my wrist. And of course, I've had the usual tennis elbows,
Yep.
which lasted a year because I didn't stop working out and I did the stuff that hurt. So I've become more wise with the years. The last 2 years, when I get something, I can feel this might end up being a long-lasting injury. Then I actually listen to my body and don't do the stuff that hurts. So, but you can't go on for 24 years without getting some injuries
Absolutely.
sometimes. So
Absolutely. And isn't it amazing how, as we age and we learn how to listen, as you said, listen to our bodies, like you
yeah,
said, when you're in your 20s and your 30s, you're like, I can push through this. I can
yeah,
push through. And then you get older, you're like, I'm not going to be able to move tomorrow if I do this.
yeah. It's also, I'm very stubborn, but I have to respect my body more because
Mhm.
I've learned the hard way that
Yeah.
if I don't, it might just be prolonged and I might as well just give some days rest and then it's usually gone. So it's a
Well, that's
better approach. My working out is so important, so I have
mhm.
to listen because it's better that I can train a little than I can't train at all.
Absolutely, because doing something is always better than doing nothing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely. Um, all right. So are you married? Do you have any kids, or just single living the dream?
I'm single living the dream, and I'm, no offense, happy that I
No,
don't have kids
no
because I
offense
can,
taken.
yeah, but I can spend as much time as I want to in the gym.
Mm,
And I can live my ego life, where everything evolves around my fitness. So
Absolutely, and nothing
I
wrong with that.
feel blessed. I feel that I've made the right choice for myself.
Do you now, when you're approached by men, are they intimidated by your physique, or is it mostly do you meet, you know, if you're dating, do you meet guys in the gym who are obviously in that element anyway, so they're more comfortable dating a muscular female? They're not as challenged, their
Yeah.
egos might not be challenged by that as much, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it depends. Some is intimidated and turned off, and
Mhm,
some find it fascinating. Again, I can feel that it's more and more common or likable to have a woman with muscles now than it was 20 years ago. So,
yeah.
but there is also people who gets intimidated and shy and afraid of talking to me or
It wouldn't be, see, like, as a guy, for me, it would be like I would try to, like, say something funny because it's like, you know, that's just always because I mean, let's face it, you know, I don't have much to work with as far as aesthetics, you know, I don't have a flowing mane of hair. I do have a wonderful beard, but, you know, but no, it's always been the sense of humor for me.
yeah.
But is that something that you're like, what in a guy, what would Natasha in a guy say that the most important thing for her is?
Confidence and brains and good dark humor. And everyone is always asking, is it important if he works out or if he's a bodybuilder? And I
Mm,
really don't care. I've been with a bodybuilder and that was okay. And the last one I had, my last boyfriend, he was not into bodybuilding and it was
mhm,
perfectly okay. So it's a matter of personality.
mhm.
And yeah, that's the most important, not how he looks.
And that's something that I always like to ask because you get either like your answer, like you've dated bodybuilders, non-bodybuilders, and there's some girls that are only like, I only date guys that go to the gym, or they won't date guys that go to the gym because it's like you said, you want to be able to focus on your physique. And
Yeah,
if you have two people that are in that same space, especially if one of them competes, then they're going to be a lunatic prepping for a
yeah,
contest because you go into a completely different headspace prepping
yeah.
for a contest. So yeah, I can see that being a problem. So thank you for the candid answer. I always appreciate that. And we're at about the 25-minute mark right now. So we're going to wind it down, but we're going to ask you first 5 questions.
And now, 5 questions with Etep.
Self high five.
I saw your Princess Leia cosplay.
I love Star Wars, but I must admit I haven't seen the newer ones. The ones I've seen is from when I was a child, so very old with Harrison Ford, and yeah, I love
And
those.
don't waste your time with the new ones. They're terrible and they ruin
Yeah,
all the characters in the lore. Um,
yeah,
I'm a huge, if I didn't have my green screen up, you would see exactly how much of a nerd I am because I
mhm,
have, between my collection and what I've bought for my son, we have thousands of Star Wars pieces of memorabilia. Um,
yeah.
so the question is, Han or Luke?
Mm. Han is funny and Luke is good looking, but as I said before, I would go with Han. He's special. Luke is just a
Han
pretty boy.
Han has that rugged rogue type confidence, that swagger, that
Yeah,
certain panache to his personality. That's
exactly.
that's it. Okay. Number 2. This is a very important question. Are you ready?
Hmm.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And if not, why are you wrong?
Oh, I like Die Hard. I don't think there's so much Christmas about it, but it is always on TV in the Christmas holidays. So I know people say it's a Christmas movie. I
It's my
just
favorite
think,
Christmas movie.
yeah, I just think he's real badass. I like his character.
Number 3, what is your favorite vacation spot?
Oh, I haven't been so much around. I've been busy with my working out and getting myself educated. But as long as it's warm and there's some nice water, and I like to bathe and go out and have nice food. So I'm not so much into city vacations. Beach, water, yeah, sunny.
I can recommend one, and
Yeah,
it's Negril, Jamaica, some of the
yeah.
best beaches and most beautiful ocean I have ever seen.
Oh, I have so many places I need to go to. That must be one too, and the US.
Number 4, um, when was the last time a guy asked you to arm wrestle?
I think 2 hours before this in my DM and Instagram. It's up every time I go out, every time, no matter how dressed up I am. It's it's always, can we arm wrestle? So all the time.
See, that would be something like I would ask for after a couple dates to be like, "Hey, will you just, let's or like, hey, look, if I beat you, we'll go out on a date and whatever." But like I said, the humor thing. But I'm sure that gets old. I mean, like you said, you're probably just trying to go to the market and and
Yeah, I
that's
can
what.
go get groceries and get stopped, and people will be like, "Oh, can I ask how much is your biceps?" Or yeah, just to go out to get groceries. So the good thing about winter now in Denmark is that I have this huge coat on. So, but in the summer, so all the time, can we arm wrestle? How much is your biceps and stuff like that?
I'm and that's why when I asked you if I could have an interview with you, I asked very politely. I'm like, would I was like, can I DM you? Because, and I think my words were, because I know your inbox is probably just flooded with nonsense and I
Yeah,
don't want to get lost in the shuffle. So I always ask, do you have an email that, like a professional email for interview requests, things like that. So,
yeah.
because I don't want to be one of those guys. I'm not one of those
You
guys.
you haven't been, thankfully. You've
No,
been very
no,
kind and polite.
no, I'm a fan, and that's as far as that goes. So number 5. Any big plans career-wise going into 2024, either fitness or outside of the fitness industry?
Yeah, I want to travel more, and also maybe shed off some more fat and see how it looks um, underneath. Um, but as I've said, it wasn't the aesthetics that's driven me,
Mhm.
but as I've got a lot of followers on Instagram encouraging me, I've become a little more into the aesthetics. So it would be fun just to see how do I look more like in shape, but not like I'm going on stage, because that's gonna get too hard on my body, and I wanted to perform well
Mhm.
still in the gym. So getting a little more lean, getting more strong would be nice.
When you said get in better shape, I'm sitting here looking at you going, and I've seen your pictures. I'm like, but better shape, like no, but no, I understand. You want to lean out because if
Yeah,
you're not competing naturally, you're going to carry a little more. But I'm not saying you're fat, because you look fantastic. But no, your body
thank you.
just naturally will carry that extra fat. And if you're lifting heavier, it's you're not worried about leaning out for diet wise. Then, not saying you don't watch what you eat, but yeah, you're gonna be a little more bulky, which,
Yeah,
and that's just a natural part of building, before you in that competition phase. Yeah, you're physically weakest when you're going into that competition. And as you said, you
yeah,
like to lift heavy, so that is antithetical to that goal. um
yeah.
but thank you for your answers, and thank you for being so candid and spending some time with us today, Natasha. You've been a wonderful guest, and we would absolutely love to have you back sometime down the road.
I would love that. It's been very nice to talk to you.
Absolutely. And we have to ask, we have to get it because you've got the guns out. Can we get a flex from you for the I'm gonna ask what are you measuring at right now? I'm gonna ask. What are you measuring at?
Oh, the last time it was almost 41. But when I'm more bulky, I'm like 43 centimeters.
Okay.
So I don't know what's that in inches. But yeah, about 41 centimeters now.
Impressive, impressive nonetheless. And you know, you're open. Your age is listed. You listed your age on your Insta profile, which you look fantastic. And at 47, and that's not. And people's like, I'm 43. Oh, you're up. I said, no. Trust me, I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started, and it's always great to see people in their 40s who are like, you know what, I don't have to just let myself go. That's always, and I do that too. It's like I see my friends from high school that I still, you know, talk to, and a lot of them are overweight and they're, I got health problems and they're on medications. Like, I take vitamins. That's what I take. I take vitamins. So kudos to you for maintaining a amazing, healthy lifestyle and looking absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time, and we truly appreciate it. Folks, wait, do you have any links that you want to share? Any place? We know we can find you on Instagram. And I got to ask, is there a premium content site that you want us to, to plug for you?
No, I don't. I don't. I usually just use my Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe in the future I will make some more. And yeah, I hope to.
Okay. Well, again, thank you, Natasha. We appreciate your time. And folks, Natasha's Instagram link is in the description. And yeah, she's been a wonderful guest. And like I said, we hope to have her back. Go over and give her a shout on Instagram. Don't ask her to arm wrestle though. And don't DM her garbage, guys. Don't be like that. So thank you.
No.
I'm Etep from the Place to Be Reviews. We've been here with all of you. We don't see you. Have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow. We will catch you on the next one.